U.S. Navy SEALs and Coast Guard forces have intercepted a billion-dollar narco-submarine operation, exposing a $415 million cocaine and meth shipment hidden beneath the waves.
October 11th, 2025, the northern waters of the Gulf of Mexico, off the coast of Pensacola, Florida, USA, at coordinates 29.7 degrees north, 87.2 degrees west, the U.S. Navy and Coast Guard launched a precision strike operation against a submarine operated by the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, or CJNG. For weeks, American intelligence had tracked the vessel's every move, its route through the Yucatan Channel, its dive depths, and its nightly bursts of encrypted data. Washington knew exactly what it was chasing: a semi-submersible designed to carry over 3 tons of methamphetamine and cocaine, worth nearly $400 million. This wasn't just a smuggling vessel. It was a weapon of economic warfare, part of a billion-dollar underwater fleet silently approaching U.S. waters. 2 armed escort boats ran alongside the submarine, each carrying about 25 cartel gunmen armed with AK-103s, Uzis, and light RPGs launchers. Their mission: protect the shipment until rendezvous with the Venezuelan freighter San Miguel, waiting to the east near Puerto La Cruz. They believed the vast ocean would hide their trail. They were wrong. From the north, the Coast Guard cutter USCGC Hamilton, WMSL 753, began closing the gap, guided by live satellite feed. 4 Navy RIV attack boats formed a spearhead formation, cutting through the black water. Above them, an MH-60S Seahawk from Helicopter Sea Combat Squadron 22 swept the surface with searchlights, its .50 caliber GAU-21 locked on the waves below. Could U.S. forces intercept a billion-dollar drug route, or would it vanish again into the darkness of the Gulf? We're about to find out. 2:12 a.m. at the Coast Guard Gulf Regional Command Center, inside the operations room of Naval Air Station Pensacola. An anomaly appeared as the radar swept the waves. A radar commander leaned close to the control panel. On the computer screen, a faint signal emerged. 40 nautical miles south of Santa Rosa Island. Speed, 6 knots. Depth, semi-submerged. No AIS, no radio, only silence. Unidentified moving contact. Bearing 165, range 40 nautical miles, the operator reported. Minutes later, a P-8A, Poseidon patrol aircraft from Naval Air Station Jacksonville confirmed the sighting. A low-heat metallic structure, about 11 meters long. Not a fishing boat, not a buoy. It was something built to disappear. By 2:25 a.m., the operations center at Naval Base Pensacola, 30.35 degrees north, 87.30 degrees west, was fully active. Analysts pulled satellite imagery from NOAA-NRO and the SBIRS infrared system. The heat signature matched that of a semi-submersible submarine used by the Jalisco New Generation Cartel along Pacific smuggling routes, 35 feet long, carrying 3 tons of cargo, with 2 crew members aboard. Estimated value, $400 million in narcotics, enough to poison an army. Ready strike positions. Let's bring our ghost to the surface. Outside, the Gulf of Mexico lay under a moonless sky. On the radar screen, the signal flickered, appearing, vanishing, then appearing again. Someone beneath the surface was playing hide-and-seek with the most advanced Navy on Earth. At 2:40 a.m., U.S. Coast Guard Commander Rachel Decker calmly gave the order over the radio. Begin covert tracking. And at that very moment, the still waters of the Gulf turned into an invisible battlefield. 2 warships began to move into formation, USCGC Hamilton and USS Delbert D. Black DDG-119, forming a silent wall of steel across the northern corridor of the Gulf. Above, an MQ-9 Reaper drone climbed to 6,000 meters, its infrared sensors painting the sea below in shifting shades of orange and black. Every sonar ping, every flash on the screen was now a race against the dark. If the submarine dove beneath the thermal layer, it would vanish completely. On the command deck, no one spoke. Outside, the ocean whispered, unaware it was about to become the most monitored body of water on the planet. 3 a.m. The order came through the silence. Track only. Do not engage. By 3:12 a.m., Hamilton switched to passive sonar mode. Every vibration beneath the sea, from fish to shifting currents, was recorded, filtered, and analyzed by the ship's integrated AI system. 6 minutes later, an acoustic pattern emerged. Low frequency, 42 hertz, repeating every 18 seconds. Not marine life, not a civilian vessel. It was a propeller. The narco-submarine was active, moving eastward at 7.4 knots, 62 feet, about 19 meters below the surface. Invisible to radar, yet faintly glowing on the thermal map. A ghost in motion. From an altitude of 6,000 meters, the Reaper's thermal camera captured a faint orange streak sliding across the pitch-black sea, the heat trace of an engine running at full capacity. Inside the operations room at Naval Base Pensacola, data pulsed across the screens like the heartbeat of a living creature. 3 agencies, the U.S. Navy, Coast Guard Intelligence, and the DEA Maritime Task Force, had now locked onto the same ghost. But then, something unexpected appeared. The submarine was not alone. Thermal scans revealed 2 small escort vessels moving silently in the dark, all navigation lights off, keeping a 2 nautical mile distance. Signal intelligence detected encrypted radio bursts every 11 minutes, each packet routing through a server located in Maracaibo, Venezuela. It was proof that the entire operation was being controlled remotely. The cartel was being guided from beyond U.S. waters. 3:48 a.m. A new alert flashed across the SBIRS satellite feed. Far to the east, 90 nautical miles away, a disguised Venezuelan cargo ship abruptly changed course, heading straight toward the submarine's projected rendezvous point. Its heat signature and transmission pattern matched previous drug shipments camouflaged as industrial paint containers. If the submarine reached that rendezvous, more than 3 tons of narcotics worth $400 million would vanish into global trade routes. The mission had changed. This was no longer reconnaissance. This was the countdown to an assault. 3:52 a.m. The narco-submarine surfaced for just 6 seconds, long enough to vent exhaust. But for the U.S. Navy, 6 seconds was all they needed. From 6,000 meters above, the MQ-9 Reaper locked its infrared lens onto a 30-foot shadow slicing across the Black Sea at 8 knots. Over the encrypted channel, the voice of Commander Rachel Decker came through. Calm, decisive, precise. The Hamilton accelerated to 28 knots, cutting through the sea like a blade. 4 RIB assault boats launched in formation, 60 sailors on deck, each armed with M4 carbine, MK-48S, and M110 sniper. Above, an MH-60R Seahawk dove from the east, its searchlight slicing white scars across the rolling waves. The ocean erupted into a chaos of men, steel, and fire, all converging on a single target. This was no longer a pursuit. This was an execution. For a brief moment, the crew aboard the Hamilton saw it, a rounded hull slipping just beneath the surface. 4:01 a.m. The cartel escorts opened fire first. From the starboard side, 2 cartel commanders burst out, unleashing Uzi and AK-103 rounds into the darkness. Tracer rounds streaked across the night sky like blazing red scars. The response was immediate. Gunners aboard the Hamilton retaliated with .50 caliber fire, each burst flashing like white lightning across the Black Sea. Above, the Seahawk banked hard left. The GAU-21 roared, unleashing a storm of steel and fire. One escort erupted into a sphere of blazing orange, raining molten debris into the waves. The sea recoiled as shrapnel hissed across the surface. Through the smoke and flames, the second escort veered sharply west, trying to escape. It didn't make it. A sniper aboard the Hamilton squeezed the trigger. One shot, and the engine went silent. 4:07 a.m. Amid the chaos aboard the assault boats, 12 agents on RHIBs charged through gunfire, waves crashing over their helmets. They closed in on the submarine's slick, searing steel hull. "Breach the hatch," someone shouted. The explosive charge detonated. The hatch blew open. Toxic fumes and the stench of burning chemicals poured out, mixing with oil and salt. Inside, packed tightly in black industrial bags, were 2,260 pounds of crystal meth and liquid cocaine, worth over $415 million on U.S. streets. The gunfight lasted more than 6 minutes. In the end, 3 smugglers were killed, 5 captured alive, and 1 U.S. sailor wounded by shrapnel, but still holding his post. The vessel tilted, flames crawling across its steel hull, turning the Gulf's waters molten orange. From the Hamilton's command deck, Commander Rachel Decker spoke softly into her radio, her voice calm and steady. "Target confirmed. Package secure." And in that moment, the ocean answered only with silence, carrying away the final heartbeat of a billion-dollar empire sinking beneath the dawn. The guns had gone quiet, but another question surfaced. Inside that steel monster, what awaited the US Navy after such an endless pursuit? 5 a.m. The first light of dawn shimmered over the northern Gulf of Mexico. Gunpowder smoke still hung low as the Hamilton anchored above the wreck. Divers equipped with oxygen tanks plunged into the depths toward the twisted steel shadow lying 10 meters below. From a distance, it looked like a floating coffin of steel. Up close, they realized this was no crude homemade vessel. It was a criminal engineering masterpiece, a $2.8 million narco-sub, handcrafted in the jungles of Colombia. Its welds were precise, its hull reinforced with carbon fiber and coated with radar-absorbent paint. Every inch of steel whispered the same message: built never to be found. The hull breaches were coated with radar-absorbing polymer, the same material used on military drones. Every bolt was wrapped in carbon fiber to mute sonar echoes. This machine wasn't built to endure, it was built to disappear. At 5:47 a.m., divers slipped through a cracked hatch. The air was thick with diesel, salt, and burnt chemicals. Inside the cockpit, no screens, no computers, just 3 old Soviet mechanical clocks, a compass, and a mechanical throttle. But beneath the floorboards, the secret is revealed: a lithium-ion battery system weighing nearly 2,000 pounds, enough to propel the ship 600 nautical miles underwater. Each battery cell bears the words Shenzhen Dynamics Corporation. The link is clear: the cartel is not alone. Behind a false bulkhead lay the cargo bay, a narrow compartment filled with vacuum-sealed steel canisters strapped down with nylon belts. Some were still warm from the explosions above. Forensic teams opened each container, documenting everything: 2,240 pounds, approximately 940 kilograms, of methamphetamine, 480 liters of cocaine base, total street value, $417 million, equivalent to 8.5 million doses, one for every soul in New York City. This wasn't a small-time shipment, this was industrial-scale trafficking.
Then came the most shocking discovery. In the engine compartment, investigators found a NAV-02 black box, still connected to the control panel. It contained an autonomous navigation module linked to an encrypted satellite uplink. When technicians extracted the data, 2 completed routes appeared, both departing from Venezuela, both ending off the coast of Florida, meaning this wasn't the first mission, it was the third in an ongoing operation.
6 a.m. The entire Hamilton crew stood silent on deck. The truth was undeniable. This vessel wasn't luck, it was a prototype, a blueprint for an industrial fleet the cartel was building like a navy. Intelligence later confirmed at least 12 similar subs were under construction along Venezuela's coast. 8 a.m., October 12th, 2025. As the sun rose, the Gulf of Mexico seemed calm again, a peace that hid the aftermath. Aft of the Hamilton, the captured submarine hung half-submerged, chained in place like a ghost trapped between 2 worlds. The air still reeked of diesel and burnt salt. No one spoke, because there was nothing left to say. At 8:10 a.m., the debriefing began at Naval Base Pensacola. There were no cheers, only the weight of truth. Numbers echoed through the conference room: cold, heavy, more haunting than gunfire. 1 submarine destroyed, 2,260 pounds of drugs seized, street value, $415 million, enough for over 8 million doses of meth and cocaine, 1 for every life in a major U.S. city. 3 cartel members dead, 5 captured alive. 1 wounded sailor who kept his post until sunrise. The commander's voice rose, then faded, leaving the air thick with silence. No one spoke. No one moved. Because everyone understood, the real shock wasn't the battle at sea, but what was about to come next. When technicians unlocked the encrypted navigation drive, they didn't just find data. They found an entire operational model. 3 complete voyage logs, each detailing separate incursions along the Gulf Coast, from Tampa Bay to New Orleans. 1 log, dated September 22, 2025, described a mission completed without radar detection, without combat, without trace. If that data was accurate, 3 tons of narcotics had already slipped through U.S. waters, like an invisible tide in the night. And as the screens went dark, everyone realized the battle they thought was over was only a heartbeat in a much longer war. 9:15 a.m. An emergency meeting was convened between the DEA, Naval Intelligence, and Homeland Security. Satellite images, when pieced together, revealed a chilling pattern: A precise, organized, and almost inhuman network. 12 identical submarines, launched from secret yards near Puerto La Cruz, Venezuela, under the protection of corrupt military officers. Each costing about $3 million, powered by commercial lithium batteries, running smuggling routes from Asia through the Caribbean. When the report ended, no one in the room moved. Total transport capacity, 40 tons of narcotics per year, a $5 billion undersea pipeline stretching through the Caribbean, along the Gulf and into the heart of America. On the screen, the burned hull appeared. Cracked steel, shattered spine. Commander Rachel Decker rose, her voice low but clear, ringing like a declaration. This is no longer smuggling. This is an underwater arms race. That afternoon, the Navy raised the alert level across the entire Gulf of Mexico. Patrol flights doubled. Coast Guard ships were redeployed along major trade routes. Civilian vessels were ordered to report any low-lying objects within a 200 nautical mile radius. But aboard the Hamilton, no one felt safe. Everyone knew. Each time a submarine was sunk, another was already being welded together in the South American jungle, ready to replace it before the sea could even grow calm again. October 13th, 2025, Gulf of Mexico. The next morning, the sky turned pale orange. The waves were gentle again, the wind soft, as if there had never been blood and fire in the night. But for those who were there, that peace was just a thin veil of the ocean. Because they knew, beneath that calm surface, the war continued, slow, silent, and without borders. At a depth of 18 meters, the captured submarine lies still on the gray sand, guarded 24 hours a day by Navy divers collecting evidence. From above, it is just a small black dot in the vast ocean. But in reality, it is the first physical evidence of a global industrial war, where criminals have evolved into engineers and the black economy has become military infrastructure. A $415 million shipment, one link in a billion-dollar chain, and undeniable proof that the cartels have evolved beyond mere smuggling. They've become strategists, investors, and financiers of a new kind of warfare, one without declaration, without flags, without borders. In Washington, analysts presented their findings to Congress, and for the first time, a new phrase appeared in the official record: the narco-submarine threat corridor. Immediately, plans were drawn. More surveillance drones, more sonar stations, more patrol ships. But every expert in the room knew, technology can buy time, but it cannot stop human nature. On the deck of the Hamilton, yesterday's victory felt suddenly hollow. 1 wounded, 5 prisoners, 3 bodies, and one question no one dared to answer. Are we fighting smugglers or the prototype of a future war? As the ship returned to port, the sea was eerily calm. Commander Rachel Decker stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the horizon. The water reflected the first light of dawn, smooth, almost too smooth. In her mind, one question echoed: how many more are still diving in the dark? How many more dawns will rise with fire on the water and silence in the wind? She lowered her radio and whispered, not to her crew, but to the ocean itself, the one that has kept secrets longer than any nation ever could. "Let them come," she said softly. "We'll be waiting." And the waves answered in silence, carrying her words into the deep. If you believe America's strength will never be extinguished, show your support. Like this video, share it, and subscribe to our channel, because only together can we preserve these untold stories.